Hey everybody, it's my 10-gallon Pea Puffer tank here in my office. And last night my wife asked me whether or not one of my guppies had babies in here. And I said, yeah, they'd been in there for a while. And I was actually thinking of the last generation of babies that was born a couple of weeks ago. And there was maybe 8 or 10 of those left in the tank. I did not realize what she was asking about was this slew of new fry in there. So apparently my female guppy in there dropped a bunch more babies, and now I don't know what to do with all these babies I've got here in my pea puffer tank. So I need to get in there and do a water change anyway. That's probably going to be later this afternoon or this evening. I got some stuff to do today during the afternoon, and then this evening I'll probably get in here and do just a simple water change and filter change. And while I'm in there, I will probably use a dip net and get as many of those little babies out of there as I can. I'm not 100% sure where they're going to go just yet. In all likelihood, honestly, they're probably going to wind up as feeder fish for somebody. They'll just go in one of my tanks somewhere, and eventually they just won't be in there anymore. I may put them in my quarantine tank, but now that I'm thinking about it, if they go in my quarantine tank, they will pretty much end up as feeder fish as well. I'm not going to discuss what I've got in my quarantine tank just yet. That's going to be a surprise. In fact, I've set a new goal on my Patreon page. I currently have 26 patrons. When I get to 35 patrons, I need 9 more patrons. When I get to 35 patrons, I'm going to shoot a exclusive video for my patrons showing you what I've already got in my quarantine tank. And then it won't be too much longer here that they will end up in their respective tanks where they're going to be more long term. So I suppose if I don't get to my goal of 35 in a reasonable amount of time, then everybody will just find out what's in my quarantine tank eventually anyway, because they're not going to stay in there forever. They are eventually going to make their way into the regular tanks they're going to be in. But if you want to find out early, go over, check out my Patreon page. Make sure you subscribe over there. And then if I get to my 35 patrons, we'll go ahead and do that video, and we'll get a look at what's in there early before they go in their regular tanks. And I also have a goal set for 50. When I get to 50 patrons, I will do a private, full personal tour of my good fish store and a behind-the-scenes look, maybe a chat with the owner, so on and so forth. That will be for patrons only when I get to my goal of 50. But right now my goal is simply to get to 35. I need 9 more patrons, and we'll do that video about what's in my quarantine tank at the moment. So this was just a little brief update, a little shout out to my Patreon page, I suppose, and a look at all of the new baby guppies I've got here in my 10-gallon pea puffer tank. So I still am getting a little bit of bullying between the pea puffers. There they are now, speaking of the devils. And while it looks like the small one is following the large one around, that is often the case. They look like they're palling around sometimes, and then I'll get aggression. And the larger one, the big fat one there in the front, will chase the other little one around, almost like they're hunting around the tank. So they both look healthy enough. Their colors are good. They're nice and plump. So I'm going to say that I don't think the aggression is so much that I need to get them out of the tank. But I do think this tank is getting a little crowded and a little busy for the likes of the puffers. I think they're a little sketched out by all the activity in this tank. So once I get a bunch of these little baby guppies out of here, I think we'll get the tank back to being a little more suitable rather than having, giant party going on here in the tank with 50 little fish in it. We'll get it back to some more normal stocking densities. So make sure you're subscribed here to my YouTube channel. Don't forget about that as well. And then don't forget, this is my pea puffer tank. So thanks for watching. I'll see you real soon in the next one.